you actually have the opportunity to stand up and say, this is my swirly wedding dress. This is how I see it. And when I stand up on that podium, I feel beautiful. And it does not matter how anyone else sees it. Hello, and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today is going to be a great day. What a spectacular day this is. You know, as I was driving my kids to school this morning, it was so cold up here in Maine that the waterfall that we drove past, I know this is spectacular that I drive past a waterfall on the way to my kids, to drop my kids off at school. It truly is exquisite. But the steam, the smoke, the fog, the mist, whatever you want to call it, lifting up off the water was spectacular because the water's actually warmer than the air. And there, even though there are these big ice floats on the river and right under the waterfall, the steam coming off of the water was lifting up into the tree branches around it. And there's this thin, crispy rime ice. It's called soft rime that kind of coats the branches. It's not that heavy, glassy rain candy coating shell that you see on sticks and twigs after the rain and it freezes. This is that thin, shiny, crystalline structure. It's so fragile, and it was just coating all the branches and the light shining through it with the steam coming off of the water. Oh, it was spectacular. I just knew in that moment today was going to be a great day. And I'm so excited to be chatting with you today about this concept of you get to choose the lens that you perceive your reality. You get to create your own reality. It's the truth. I mean, so many of us find ourselves in that moment where we just think, really, is this all there is to life? And then we realize, oh my gosh, no, there's so much more. Because I get to choose the lens I use to perceive my reality. You know, there was a time in my life when everything felt like it was against me, when I felt like I had no control, when things outside of me kept happening. Does this sound familiar? I mean, I hear this all the time. But Tarryn, COVID keeps happening. Tarryn, economic downturn keeps happening. Tarryn, people around me keep leaving or dying or moving or hurting. Yes, but we get to choose the lens we perceive our reality from. And I know that sounds naive. I'm going to share with you a story. I don't watch TV often. And a couple of nights ago, I was just snuggling with my daughter. She's 10. And so, of course, she lives in this fantasy fairy tale princess world. She still does, and I love it about her. I love her imagination and her creativity. And so something she wanted me to see was an episode from Say Yes to the Dress. Yes, my friends, my daughter watches Say Yes to the Dress, and this is an episode or a series, I guess, that takes place in England, in the UK. So I was enjoying it because of the fascinating accents, and it was actually a cool show to watch. If you haven't seen Say Yes to the Dress, it's when women come to this bridal store and they look for a dress that makes them feel spectacular, and then they say yes to a dress ultimately. But what's so fascinating about this series that takes place in the UK, the gentleman who owns the business must be a life coach, or rather he could be, because he literally transforms the way women see themselves. And really, it's an art to watch. Watching him, you realize what an art this is, of how he gets women to see themselves in a really beautiful way. It's more psychology than sales. It's fascinating to watch. Anyway, there was one scene, this beautiful red-headed woman, gorgeous young lady, who had lost her vision in her teenage years. So she used to be able to see, and then she had this degenerative disease that robbed her of her vision. And here she was buying a wedding dress, and she brought her whole entourage, her aunties and her mom and her sisters, her best friends, and they were all coming to help her see what she looked like in a dress. So she was really putting on a dress and then waiting for their interpretation so that they could tell her what she looked like. She was hoping they'd give her a clue so that she could pick a dress with their guidance. And the gentleman who owns this salon was with her privately, putting on the dress before they walked out for this grand reveal of what the dress looked like. And they tried on several dresses. Anyway, he helped her put on this one dress, and it had some beautiful netting or lace around the bodice of her dress. And so he asked her to just feel it. And there was beautiful flowers all up over the bodice of this wedding dress. And he said to her, "What do you see?" Now, of course, she can't see. She's feeling with her fingers and interpreting what it feels like into what it would look like visually in her imagination. And she said, "Oh, these are beautiful swirls." She said, "Oh, I can feel these swirls. They're spectacular." And she said, "What do the swirls look like?" And he said, "Well, actually, they're not swirls at all. They're flowers." And she said, "Oh, no, to me, they feel like swirls." And he said, "That's perfect. How do you receive that? How does it feel to be in a dress of swirls?" And she said, "Oh, my gosh, this is spectacular." She said, "But wait a minute. I think this dress looks beautiful, but how are other people going to say it looks?" And he said to her, "Well, this is the magic of you get to decide what it looks like for you. And when you walk out there, you're going to be covered in swirls. What does it matter what they see? You're going to feel spectacular because to you, the swirls are what in your imagination make this dress so perfect and beautiful. What does it matter what they think? Because you're wearing swirls." And she went out there, and it was just incredible to watch the empowerment and the beauty that she felt. And she even said in front of them, "I feel like this dress is specially made for me. There is no dress like this that can exist for anyone else because only I can perceive the beauty of this dress, and it feels phenomenal." You know, that episode has stuck with me ever since I watched it with my daughter, because I thought how fascinating that we all have this opportunity to use a lens of our choice to see our own reality, and more specifically, to see our own truth of who we are. It really does not matter, because when she stepped up on that podium, because that's what you do when you wear the dress and you try it on and you come out and show your aunties and your grannies and you try to get their opinion, you stand on this little platform and show yourself. And what's so interesting when you watch this show is when someone's feeling uncomfortable, the audience knows, the audience being her loved ones. When she's feeling uncomfortable in a dress, immediately the moms and the grannies and the sisters say, "Oh no, this dress isn't for you. You seem uncomfortable in it." They know. But when they stand up there in a dress and they feel phenomenal, that's when everyone in the entourage says, "Wow." That's when the tears come. That's when mom starts crying because she can't believe how much her daughter is embodying the feeling of being beautiful. And all of it is in the woman's perception herself, in that bride's perception herself. It really has nothing to do with the dress. It's all got to do with her own perception of the swirls or the fancy or the glitz or the simplicity. It doesn't matter. What matters is how she sees herself. And isn't that true for us every single day? We get to choose the lens that we see ourselves in, the reality that we are in. We get to create our own reality on a day-to-day basis. And it doesn't mean for a minute that we can control a thing outside of ourselves. Yes, COVID will still happen. Yes, there are people who will still come at you with anger. Yes, there are still people who will cut you off on the highway. There are still mistakes that you will make. but how do you choose to perceive them? If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you didn't get into business to be miserable. The problem is that people feel that if their business gets busier, if they start becoming more successful, that happiness will eventually set in. But it can actually get worse. This is why I created the Business of Happiness Prosperity Coaching. In this one-on-one coaching, we look at how to redefine success on your terms and re-find the joy and the passion in your dream. Visit me at thebizofhappiness.com and become the happiest business owner you know. You know, a couple weeks ago, one of my team members who's new to my orthodontic practice, we were busy that day. We were, as many of you business owners may have experienced recently, we were down quite a few members of our team because of COVID related. Either they had COVID themselves or one of their kids had COVID and they had to stay home. Anyway, we were a skeleton crew. And at the end of the day, everyone was exhausted. People were stepping into positions that they weren't used to being in. They were taking on new tasks, new roles, learning new skills. And at the end of the day, I looked at my team and I said, oh my gosh, it was a phenomenal day. You each stepped up into an uncomfortable situation and our entire patient population felt supported. Not one person knew that we were down. Each one of you rose to the occasion, and yes, we're tired at the end of the day. Yes, we stretched ourselves today, but you did it. And this team worked together so beautifully. I am so proud of you. What a great day this was. And my new team member said to me, Tarryn, I don't understand. The day can be a disaster. We can be down to a skeleton staff, and you still see the growth and the beauty and the happiness in the day. Everyone else was looking at this day before you said that as a disaster, as can we just get through? And you saw how incredible the day was. And right there, I was very clear that that was the lens I had chosen to see my day in. When I got up that morning, that was my perception I chose. And isn't it fascinating that we get to choose that perception every single day? Every day we get to choose how we perceive our reality and how we create our reality. Because my reality on that day was that this team crushed it. They crushed it. They delivered their very best. Sure, there are other stories I could have told myself. But I decided in that morning that that is how I choose to see it. And you know, even if you get up and you forget to make this intention for the day, you get to choose it at any point in the day. How can I see this differently if there's an uncomfortable feeling that comes up for you? This is something I've incorporated as well because, man, I've had those days where everything just seems to be going wrong. And you start to have that old language of, oh, man, can I just get through this day? Everything's against me. I got up on the wrong side of the bed, and we start using old cliches to justify why the universe is against me today. Everybody's got it out for me. And then I stop and I say, yeah, this doesn't feel very good. I don't want to be this way. This does not feel like happiness to me. How do I choose to see this differently? How do I choose to see the failures and the fumbles as lessons, as opportunities for greater growth? How do I choose to see the beauty in the moment and not the battle? Because every day we have that opportunity. And it's not about wearing rose-colored glasses that make you naive to what's really happening. No, it's about opening you up to the possibilities of what there is around you, for opportunities around you, instead of closing yourself off and thinking that everything is happening to you. You actually have the opportunity to stand up and say, this is my swirly wedding dress. This is how I see it. And when I stand up on that podium, I feel beautiful. And it does not matter how anyone else sees it, because I know when I stand in my own integrity, when I stand with that greater confidence in myself and love for myself, then my beauty will overshadow this dress 10 times over. Then my integrity will overshadow this situation 10 times over. Then I know that when I'm in alignment with my own core values, that nothing can touch me, and that everything is just an opportunity to learn and grow from. Imagine a world where every day you get to choose your own reality. Because that is every single day, my friends. That is every single day. How can I grow from this? How can I find happiness from this? How can I learn from this? Instead of how can I be a victim? And who's out there to get me? You know, I'm excited because I'm actually speaking about this at an upcoming event. It's happening in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I'm going to try to find it as I'm talking to you quickly here. It's happening in Worcester, Massachusetts on March 26, 2022. And these two incredible guys, Alan Lazarus and Kevin Palmieri, who are the owners and hosts of Next Level University, they're putting on an incredible day called Next Level Live, and it's in Worcester. And really, the focus of the whole day is allowing and guiding people to set goals and to rise to the next level of their success and their happiness in personal fulfillment, in business, and in life, in relationships. And they've put together this phenomenal day. Speakers on that day are going to be myself, Kevin, Alan, and then the one and only Tori Aletto. She's phenomenal. I highly recommend you look her up if her name does not ring a bell instantly to you. She is a marriage and family therapist and an incredible, incredible woman, extremely knowledgeable about relationships. And she's going to be talking about healing the relationship you have with yourself. So if you're interested, please check out nextleveluniverse.com. On nextleveluniverse.com, just go to events and you can purchase your tickets there. If you happen to be in the Northeast and this sounds like a great opportunity for you, I would highly recommend it. Those seats are going to sell out very quickly. And I'll be bringing you some of what I'm talking about at that event, but a lot of it has to do with this idea of identifying with your core values and recognizing what is beautiful to you and what you honor about yourself. And then using those newfound passions and desires and identity of who you are at your core as the lens through which you see your reality, as the building blocks for building your business that is a part of you, as the building blocks for building relationships and connection and love, as the building blocks for being the incredible parent that you know you can be. Because it only works when we do so in alignment with our core values. So check us out, nextleveluniverse.com. That's where you can buy your tickets. And, you know, until that time, remember this idea about this beautiful girl who's buying her wedding dress and imagining what she can see in her mind's eye as swirls, what she feels beautiful in, and how much of an impact that emotion, that identity, that choice in her perspective has on the world, the greater world around her. And how can that be incorporated in your life on a day-to-day basis? What do you choose to see your reality with? Do you choose fear or anger or resentment? Or do you choose love, happiness, empowerment? How do you choose to see your day? Well, thank you so much, my friends, for being here. And thank you always for being open to seeing and hearing a new perspective. And as always, remember, when you feel good, now that is when you can do good. Bye-bye.